This is WarCry. WarCry for our children, where the street meets the sanctuary and purpose meets power. Join me, Elder M, intercessor, street evangelist, prayer warrior, advocator for justice. We stand in the gap in the streets, in the courtyards, in the schoolyards, in the church, and on the block. This ain't just prayer. It's intercession. It's advocacy. We deal with real problems. Criminal justice, social justice, gun violence, social media, catfishing, human trafficking, mental illness, education disparities. We deal with it all here on WarCry. Our community has a voice. It's called WarCry. Each week, we link arms with community leaders, educators, pastors, parents calling out injustice. This is WarCry. This is not just a podcast. It's more than a moment. This is a movement. Join us. Let's give a voice to the problem and be the solution. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep them going. WarCry. We're going to speak out for our children. Let freedom ring? No. There cannot be freedom until there's justice. WarCry, join us Mondays, 11 a.m. I'm just about to lose my mind. This is WarCry. They're trying to turn time back. But let us get out and give a voice to the problem. This is WarCry. Join us, be with us, or be gone. Don't push us. This is WarCry. Trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. We're not going under. This is WarCry. This is WarCry, and we are so excited about our guest today. You know, WarCry is a biblical-based urban podcast. This is WarCry, cry loud, spare not. WarCry for our children, WarCry for justice, WarCry for our communities, WarCry for our poor curriculums in our school system. This is WarCry. WarCry for justice? But is there really justice? Well, we're going to talk about that today. This is WarCry. And we thank you for supporting us. Please, this is an urban television podcast, and we want you to link up with us and become a partner. WarCry, grassroots, hood therapy, you name it, we talk about it. And not only do we talk about it, real people, real problems with real solutions. WarCry, we're tired of it. We're not taking it anymore. I'm just about to lose my mind, but guess what? I'm going to stay on this side with a good mind. This is WarCry, and we're going to look at our panel today. Come on, bring our panel in. I am so excited about our panel. We're so excited about our panel. Bring them up today. This is WarCry, and we're going to get justice. We're going to have justice, and we're going to be about justice. Now, what we're going to do today, panel, we have a very special guest, Dr. Divine Pryor. He is so dear to my heart. But before we do introduce him, I want you guys to take a look at this first video and tell me, how do you feel after looking at this first video? Let's go to it now. Just mute yourself so you can hear the video. Thank you.
What will it take for us to feel one another? I ask, what does it take to heal each other? When will it stop? The need to kill each other? I guess we'll never know why we don't deal with each other. What drives us to shoot each other? Knowing our mothers, our friends, grandfathers and grandmothers? When does it stop? The hatred for each other? Trust me, if I could, I would answer these calls to see us chill with each other. We can't even speak to each other. Grew up down the street from each other. But yet I watched on a screen you and me kill one another. And now it's just normal to shoot when we see each other. What happened to us believing each other? What happened to us seeing ourselves as brothers? What happened to us as men, as sons, as fathers, speaking to our sons, our sisters, our daughters about the benefits of community, sharing in unity? What will it take for us to feed one another?
Okay, come back in panel. I need someone just to introduce yourselves and just tell me, how did this video impact you? What did you think when you heard this brother speak about what we were doing to each other? Come on in, introduce yourselves and step right into the arena.
All right, I'll introduce myself. My name is Minister Peace. It's great to be here. Thank you very much for having us, for hosting us, for giving us this platform. As I watch this brother speak, I think about what's not often discussed and what's not often visualized. And you and I spoke about this on the call we had about how we are doing better in a lot of ways. And I think sometimes the media, social media, as well as the news, forces us to funnel our focus only on the bad, only on the misery, on the poverty, on the pain, on the trauma. But, there's a lot of things that we've triumphed over. And I know we might look around us in the country, in our city, in our neighborhood, and be able to easily spot the darkness. But that's just because our vision is a little bit sharper, in my opinion. That's not to say darkness isn't there. But as you and I discussed, if you compare, say, the murder rate from 92 to now, it's an 85% decrease. If you compare the murder rate from 10 years ago, it's a 50% decrease. So we are making huge strides of improvement. We just don't talk about it. We just keep saying, well, there's still murder. Yes, there's still murder. That happens. There's still awful sin. There's awful things that happen. But if we don't take pause to celebrate the wins and we're just swimming in the trauma and the misery, what do we have to look forward to,
Minister Peace, I agree with you, Minister Peace. Come on, Tyreek, you want to come in? I need to hear from somebody else.
How's everybody doing? What he said, and then what the imagery was, to me, I got two good different messages from it, right? Because what he's saying is, he believed in hope. We should have hope. We should be loving each other. And then when you see the imagery, it's everyday things that we go through, that we see, that we can identify with. You know what I mean? That you can feel the pain there. Because, just like when we telling these kids to put down these guns, but then when they look around, only thing they see with their peers and among their friends is people with guns. You know what I mean? So it's like, we want all these things, but these are the obstacles that are in our way.
Absolutely. Okay, Peggy, come on in. I need your comments. Followed by Dr. Gordon.
My name is Peggy Herrera. I am a survivor, and I've heard the very same thing. Yes, the numbers are different, but the way they're trying to undo everything that we've worked so hard to achieve. And I think that's what the problem is. And so as a community, we need to fight back and fight together, not in the way that they fight, but we need to fight the way we're supposed to fight, and that's together.
Now, what do you mean by in the way that they fight? What do you mean?
They fight dirty. Look what they're doing to us. Look what they're doing to our communities. They keep taking from us and not giving us nothing. But the difference between them and us is that we've learned how to survive because they've treated us like this for so long.
Okay. Come on in, Dr. Gordon. Come on in.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for inviting me again to this awesome and august panel. My name is Eric Laudet. I'm a licensed clinical social worker by education, but I'm a social justice advocate by profession and by commitment. This was reminding me of where it started. We're talking about the family equation, father plus mother plus children equal family. That is conspicuously absent. And we are now losing the children. We need, as fathers and mothers, to come together, own our responsibilities, teach our children. And if we don't know, we better find out. We need to get together. It's the only way that we can complete the circle. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, Minister Patton, how did you feel when you looked at this video that our communities is always fighting, and some of these people that we're fighting and killing, we grew up together.
Yeah.
We live next door to them. Minister Patton.
Mm-hmm.
You're mute.
Yeah.
A lot to do with how we perceived ourselves. And I'm going to go back to what our sister Peggy said, and I agree with her. If that image is continuously being sought, that this is the way we are, this is the way things are, this is the way we see it. If that is a continuous image that our children are seeing, that is what the fight is about. Because the fight is about, I've been an educator for many years. I've dealt with curriculum. My whole thing is about curriculum and what the children are perceiving as the curriculum. And don't let me get on that because the curriculum has been watered down. But I'm going to leave that alone. But what I'm saying is that if that's what our children are seeing, they walk out to school and this is what's in front of them. That's the problem. How do we create a different type of atmosphere that the children will draw into? How do we do that? How do we create an atmosphere, an environment that our children will see, oh, I don't want this, I want that? Why haven't we given them choices strong enough that they can pull them over to the other side? And of course, I'm going to say the church has a lot to do with it.
Okay. All right. We have Victor on. Victor, you didn't see the video, but it was about this brother who was saying, why are we killing each other? And that's what the conversation is about. Victor, would you just like to comment?
I did see the video. I got a chance to see the video.
Okay.
Peggy's my sister actually. And basically, I have to say that, you know, when I was young, we had a lot of resources. Okay, we had places to go, places to engage in, rather than engage against each other. So basically, that's what we're lacking right now, because most of our resources are being utilized for things like law enforcement and criminalization. So basically, you know, a lot of these things that are being promoted into the streets are because of this genocide ideology, okay, getting each other against each other into the communities. That's why I'm very, very big on these issues. Okay, so I did see the video and I did understand it.
Okay, I know since we have Peggy's brother, we're gonna have a hot conversation today. Dr. Pryor. Dr. Pryor, could you come on up? Dr. Pryor.
Good evening. Can you hear me? I can't see myself, so I'm wondering if you can see me.
No, we can't see you, Dr. Pryor. But guess what? We're going to play a little of the video, and hopefully you can come in. Let's put on the second video, and then we're going to bring our guest of the night on.
Hello.
Let's mute our phones so the video can talk. This is Dr. Pryor. Okay, we can't hear the video.
And shed their vulnerabilities through a healing. What is PPA? People's Police Academy. PPA is a unique, one-of-a-kind learning experience that is built on trust, transparency, and the establishment of mutual respect between local residents and law enforcement. The PPA prides itself on creating a safe environment that allows participants to speak truthfully and shed their vulnerabilities through a healing process guided by human justice. Let me introduce you to PPA, starting with our CEO and just a few of our partners and supporters.
So I am the Chief Executive Officer of the People's Police Academy. I bring with me 30 years of nonprofit management and administration. I hold a PhD in criminal justice. I'm a certified conflict resolution and mediation specialist.
The People's Police Academy is an advocacy organization that educates law enforcement about culture and is able to run interference on any cultural biases that exist.
The People's Police Academy is a platform that brings together the entire community, that's including law enforcement, for the sole purpose of addressing very serious public safety issues in the community.
I spent over 25 years working with communities, chief executive officer, executive director, chief operating officer, president of local-based community work.
Being raised on Staten Island, I was raised around violence, seeing domestic violence in the home. I was also raised around drug use, drug dealers, drug abuse, and I've seen so many of my friends and family members murdered. I felt those losses, and it just carried me to this point. I wanted to use my credibility, my notoriety.
I got a firsthand understanding of not only just talking to young people about their relationship with the police, but talking to police officers about their experiences with young people. The idea that you can teach and train police on how the community thinks, how young people are thinking, and then teach young people about what police are thinking and how they look at communities that they come into police, I think is just valuable.
PPA feels the need for the greater understanding of law enforcement and community leaders' role in co-production of public safety. Public safety includes everyone in the community.
They've found rooted issues. They take these rooted issues and they ask the right questions. Where am I serving? Who am I serving? And then how will I serve them in a way that matters to them and the safety of all people? And I think those three questions really hit at the heart and root and core of why the People's Police Academy even exists.
I had the blessing to be a part of the People's Police Academy. And it was so powerful for me because, again, we were able to bring the officers inside of the mentality, right? Majority of the officers are not from the areas that they patrol and work in. So us giving them a better idea of what they're involved in, the people, the mindset, the community, if received by the officers, it forges a great relationship and mindset for them to do better work.
PPA is currently doing the work that changes lives, and those lives are being changed every single day. They're already having impact. What I envision or what I see for PPA is really expanding that impact, not just locally here in New York City, not just nationally in the United States of America, but actually globally. The concept works.
To Dr. Devon Pryor, I just want to thank you for your leadership, for the love that you have for your people, for the people, for your mentorship, and for sharing your knowledge and wisdom with us all.
PPA is an excellent fit with Medgar Evers College. It is a natural fit. I am happy to have been a part of this journey with PPA for the last 2 decades. I think they do wonderful work, and I think the best is yet to come.
This is just the beginning of really some real fundamental change about how policing is done, not only in New York, but throughout the rest of this country and throughout the world.
I'm grateful to you for opening my eyes, for allowing me the opportunity to live outside of my comfort zone and contribute to PPA.
Before there was a People's Police Academy, there was a great deal of conflict and stress between law enforcement and communities of color, poor Black and brown communities in New York City. And those conditions did not allow for any interaction in a healthy way to take place. In fact, it was usually very hostile when those two forces came together. And those conditions did not make the communities any safer because the communities did not respect law enforcement, they did not trust law enforcement, they didn't have confidence in law enforcement, and law enforcement had similar feelings towards the community, so that did not make for a good relationship. They now see each other in a more respectful manner. They can at least communicate with each other. But more importantly, they understand that the role of public safety is not in anyone's exclusive purview. It's not total community or total law enforcement, but it's a collective effort.
The PPA experience is an organic atmosphere that emerges out of the desire of human beings to meet their basic needs and create an environment where public health and safety are natural rights.
Okay, let's go to Dr. Pryor. See, he may be having a little problems with his video. Dr. Pryor, are you there?
I'm here. Yes, I can see everyone. And unfortunately, you cannot see me. But as long as you can hear me, we're going to get the job done. How's everybody doing this evening?
Everybody's unmuted. We are so excited.
Feeling blessed.
Yeah, man. Yes.
Great. I'm honored to be here. I consider it, a privilege to, be in the company of greatness. I just enjoy being with my people and having real conversations. I already know this is going to be hot. I can tell by the comments that y'all made already that this is about to get heated up, and it's all good, and I will say this. We're going to come at this from a variety of perspectives. This is a very complex issue. There's no one size fits all. I know that we're all doing the work, putting in the work, been doing the work for a long, long time. And, we're all striving for greatness and attempting to try to reverse the damage that's been done to our people. So there's no such thing as a wrong answer. I respect everyone's point of view. It doesn't make a difference to me if we agree, disagree, as long as we do it respectfully. And we're here, for a collective purpose, and that is to try to free our people from this system of oppression. That being said, I'm going to start off by simply saying I never thought that I would end up, in the position that I'm in now. I'll share a little bit about my history. I am an example of the failed public school system. I was a young man in the public school. I was inquisitive. I was brave. I was smart. I asked a lot of questions, and because I was that way and the public school system wasn't prepared for a young black boy to be asking that many questions, they said that I was disrupting the class. They said I was incorrigible. And, all the things that they said, they would put me in detention. And I would go in detention and I would organize the kids in detention because I love reading, writing, and math and science. I've always been kind of nerdy. And they, when the kids got out of detention and they were supposed to go back to class, they would come to school the next day and come back to detention. And the council would say, no, you only had 1 day or 2 days. You got to go back to class. They said, no, that guy in there is helping me. I want to go back. And they still didn't take a closer look to say what's happening, with this young black boy. So long story short, I end up, in the streets, and the streets embraced me with open arms, and who wouldn't want to be embraced, and they said, we understand that you know how to start a car without a key. I said, oh yeah. I know how to do that. And they said, could you show us? And that was my introduction to the street. I hot-wired the car. And they would give me $20. They would say, if you go in this window and open the door, I'll give you 2 20s, And at that time, I'm 10, 11, 12 years old, and I'm getting love from the streets, and I'm getting dollars in my pocket. And, before you know it, I was in the street, but I always had a book in my pocket, always had a book. And when I eventually, was arrested and brought into the system, I remember sitting on my bunk bed one day and saying, how would somebody, all I want to do is read. I just want to write. I want to do science. How does somebody with that kind of passion, and motivation and interest in education end up in the criminal punishment system? And so I started asking the question, how many more people like me are in this system? This predates the school to prison pipeline. This predates the report that was released by the Children's Defense Fund that went not from school to prison pipeline, but cradle to prison pipeline. And they were able to indicate there's an intentional effort, particularly against black boys, to funnel them into the juvenile justice system in order for them to populate an ecosystem that serves the economic interests of people who don't look like us. And so for those who are out there talking about the system is broken, I hate to report to you the fact that the system is not broken. The system is working the way it was designed. It's producing the results that it was designed to produce. And the outcomes that we see are only going to change when we change them. No, the system's not broken, but we have to break the system. We have to disrupt the cradle to prison pipeline. We have to undermine all of their efforts. We have to put our lives on the line if that's what it takes, because if we don't have anything worth dying for, we don't have nothing worth living for. And I think our children, our youth who are under attack through this criminalized system is worth us putting everything on the line for. And so I'm ready to do everything and anything in my power to disrupt this system, to undermine this effort to try to take our future away from us. And that's where I stand on the issue. That's where I open up. So let's let it get hot. Let's get hot up in here.
Let it get hot. I'll jump right off with a question. Should private prisons exist if the profit is on our back? Should private prisons exist if it depends on Black incarceration? Now, we don't have to say Black, but we know the majority that's in there. Should we have private prisons? I'm jumping straight off.
I'm gonna let somebody else take that because I don't want to. Y'all go ahead and jump in there. I'll chime in where necessary.
Yeah.
Should we have what?
Should we have private prisons?
Private prisons.
Because
Should we have what?
Private
prisons?
Yeah. And we know that they're making money.
I think we should have. I think we should have any prisons.
Okay.
I don't think we should have any prisons.
Who else should take it? Because private prisons are making money off the back of our children going inside of there. So I need an answer for it. I know you believe, brother, we shouldn't have private prisons, but they are existing, and they're existing on the backs of Black folks.
They profit over people.
Off of people.
They profit over people. And I'm against that.
Yeah. Okay, Peggy, and then Dr. Divine, let's come on into it.
Listen, so when it comes to me, right, I look at private prisons like this. I'm not for it at all, especially because now it became more corporate. You got people and they're making side deals with these different corporations. So what's going on is that, hey, now you come to prison, everybody's willing to work. But they couldn't get a job and get no type of work when they was on the outside. So a lot of these prisons is making side deals. And then, as you know, you got certain prisons that are all private that feel like they own our people and own any kind of people. So for me, it's a no. That should be something to where, you know, it's oversight, a lot of oversight, because now you could treat our kids, you could treat our elderly, our sick, any type of way.
Okay, Dr. Pryor, how do you feel? Since you got the background in criminal justice, let's hear it from you.
Well, let me say this. I agree with Brother Herrera. There should be any prisons, right? Let's start with that. But let me talk about this for a few moments. Though we take the position that there should be no prisons, we have some people. I spent 10 years in prison, by the way. You know, I became a man in prison. I went from a youth to a man in prison. I saw some things in prison that a young 17-year-old Black male should not see. I've seen the loss of life on a pretty regular basis. I've seen sexual encounters between men, you know, that I should not have been exposed to. It did not look passionate. It did not look emotional. It looked painful. It looked animalistic, to be quite honest with you. I saw people manipulated. I saw all kinds of things that a person, you know, should not see in prison. So there should not be prisons. On the other hand, I will say...
Well, come in, Dr. Pryor. Wait. Are you saying that maybe there should not be any juveniles in that prison system? Or are you saying that there should be no prison? Because you say you went in
It's a complex issue, but I'm going to start out by saying there should not be prisons. But there are prisons, and we have young people in prisons with people who are far more seasoned that are exposing them to things that they should not be exposed to. So that's an issue that we would have to address while there are still prisons, while we're moving to create a world where there are no prisons. But let me also say that we have people who are incarcerated who need additional help. They need more than just what the social services can offer. I was in prison with people who took joy in hurting other people. They took joy in stabbing other people multiple times. They took joy in taking other people's lives. They took joy in raping other people. I mean, you know, and so we have to have some way of dealing with individuals who have a propensity for violence, you know, people who have some challenges that the average social worker doesn't have the skill set to deal with. We have to figure that out. And I'll tell you this, and this is where it really gets controversial. In all of our communities that we live in, we know who those individuals who are in the community who are committing the crimes. We know who's doing it. We know who's doing the robbery. We know who's doing all the thefts. We know who's disrespecting the women. We know who they are, but yet we allow them to walk around our communities and commit these violent, heinous crimes as if it's okay. That's the conversation that we need to be having. How can, for lack of a better name, how can Bob Kim and them be allowed to sell drugs to young people on their way to and from school? Why should we allow them to kill and shoot and hurt people? And we know it's them who's doing it. How is this possible? How are we even allowing this to happen? And then we take the position that we don't want to deal with law enforcement. Okay, so let's take law enforcement out the equation. Now they're no longer in the equation. How do we handle this violence in our community, this rape, this murder, this robbery, this truth seller? How do we handle that in the absence of law enforcement? Let's start that conversation.
Let me jump in right now, and then I want the panel to jump in. I don't think that we want law enforcement to be moved out of our communities, but I think we want law enforcement who understand who we are in the community, our culture, and how we communicate with our hands and stuff like that. And I need Peggy. Peggy, jump in right now.
So, Mr. Pryor, it is an honor to be on here with you. I've heard about you, and I love the work that you do. I currently right now work for Not Another Child. It is an organization that supports survivors of gun violence.
Yeah, I know Not Another Child very well.
Yes, I know you know Reese, and so my son was killed 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago, through gun violence. And I want to say that I do advocate for the person, because I do humanize him, the person that took my son's life. I do. And I don't speak up for him because I think he did the right thing. I speak up for him because I know this is a generational issue. There's been a breakdown in the family already. And so this is where we're at, right? When they started to take everything away from us and the family started to break down, they started during the drug epidemic, take away all the fathers. Our families were breaking down. And this is the outcome of it, right? We do need police to do certain jobs. Yes, and I agree with bringing community and police together. But they need to be trained. They need to be trained to learn how to work with our communities. There's a job for them to do. They should not be involved in certain things like mental health, right? And addiction. Those things are left to people who can deal with that. That people who are trained to do those jobs. That being having addiction is not a crime. Mental health is not a crime. Your culture is not a crime. And so we see that being criminalized. And I think that with the jail system, while I am part of the Close Rikers campaign, I do agree that the person who took my son's life, when I see him appear before the judge, he's chained up. His hands, his feet. Would I ever advocate for him to come out? Absolutely not. You are not ready to be in society. No way. Now, do I think that on day one, if you call the Department of Corrections, then what are you correcting? You should be correcting behavior. I think reentry starts day one, which is called reprogramming. You don't tell them 10 years later, 30 days before they're going home, that you have all these expectations on them. That's a setup for failure. And you know they're gonna come back because they have nothing to go out with. But when you start day one, you teach them structure. You give them a job while they're there. You give them education while they're there, while they have no free time to have all that violence and stuff that's going on inside of those prison walls. Right? So this is my opinion on it.
Okay, let me bring the minister a piece in. Come on in, minister.
So my take's kind of radical, right? Because I do believe we need prisons, because there are people out there who intend to harm people. And as Dr. Devine mentioned, they take joy in it. I do a lot of advocacy for sexual violence prevention. I know there's a lot of repeat offenders when it comes to rape. I don't think that there's a lot of room to just say, let's give them a second pass. So I think it goes towards the nature of the crime. But when I say radical, I mean we need a vast restructuring of the entire system, top down, bottom up. When it comes to the police, one thing that I would stress is the fact that they need extensive de-escalation training. I can't tell you how many times myself, as a young Black man, has had to de-escalate the police from their fear from their moment of nervousness when they have a gun pulled to me for just being in a white neighborhood, and I'm like, okay, let me walk you through this. And at the end of the encounter, they actually said, "Thank you so much." And I'm like, "Bro, this isn't my first rodeo," and I'm more annoyed and disappointed that I had to calm you down, like I had to use tactics because my behavior, my background's in behavior analysis and behavior change, kids with autism. So I had to use my knowledge set that I use for toddlers with autism on an officer to de-escalate him because he can't handle seeing a black man in a neighborhood he doesn't expect to see living. And that's not the only time I had to do that, right? So I shouldn't have to use that skill set. They should be taught extensively de-escalation first. In the UK, officers don't have guns. They're still alive. How are they doing? How do they do it, right? In America, we have a sense, no, they have to have lethal force. No, you don't. You don't need lethal force. You want lethal force. You enjoy it. So we need to make sure that we train them, we screen them for violent tendencies, and then on top of that, when it comes to prisons, right? Like I don't think most crimes require prison, but there are some people who are a genuine threat temporarily. I don't think as a minister in my ministry, I believe everyone's worthy and viable for redemption. I really do. Right? It doesn't mean that everyone's contrite at the same time. Not everyone's ready for forgiveness just because they said sorry. Like, are you really sorry? Or are you just playing this? You have to be able to tell a difference. But that being said, I think alternative incarceration, I think alternative detention need to be fleshed out a lot more. We need to actively work together with our legislators, with our city council members, and say, hey, this kid, first time offense, he's walking home, he got caught with a gun on him because he knows if he walks down this block, he's gonna be rolled up on by some violent individuals. Let's give this kid a second chance instead of treating him like he's some violent thug. And then give him community.
Mr. Peace, I got to bring somebody else on. Okay,
that's fair.
Dr. Goday, come on in, Dr. Goday.
Thank you very much.
Stop and frisk. We have stopped and frisk in our communities.
Listen, what we have.
On that.
Just a minute. Dr. Pryor, your philosophy is what my whole thesis was on in my doctoral program. That we are not broken. Nothing here is broken. All have been planned. Okay. But now what we've noticed is that you're talking about cradle to prison. We're talking about mental health in prison. Instead of putting people in the mental health and being treated, and we do have some techniques where we can do leaders as well as the prisoners, as well as people who are ill. Now, that's what I am professing. I guess they call it mind-body cognitive therapy, whatever it is, but it seems to work. And we need to bring that back with mental health in the community, separate those mental health people, even the ones who are criminally insane. We need what you're talking about. Remove those, and we got all of the skills. This is the 26th. Well, anyway, 2026 in the 21st century, we have those things, and we need to make sure we do it. We should have our local Black Panther Party philosophies working as well. We can do all of that, but I know one thing we do need is security. We need to protect our communities, and we have the resources to do that. We just have to get together. But thank you very much.
Minister Patton, come in. Minister Patton, followed by Victor. Come in. Then Tariq. Let's go.
Well, listen, my position is this. We need to go back to the education system. Why am I saying this? Because many of our Black boys have been put into special ed. And then when they were put into special ed, they felt that they could not succeed. Once a child feels that they cannot succeed, they're going to go out to somebody that's going to make them feel good, that's going to give them this, that's going to get them that. The problem is we have too many of our children in special ed that are not really supposed to be special ed.
Why? Let me come in, Mr. Patton. Let me come in. You're educated. Let me come in. Because our kids have a lot of energy and they're jumping up and running around. Then the teachers who are not our color can't handle our kids. Is that what you're saying? I need you to go into it.
I was going to go into that. What happens is because you have people that don't look like us, that don't understand our children, that don't know our community. They work their 6 hours, they get in their car, and they go and have their 401k, go to the have a nice dinner, do whatever they want to do. There is no connection to our children in the community. So if they see a child acting like this, there must be something wrong with them. And the people that evaluate our children don't know our children. So many times, as me as the administrator, I would sit in the meeting and say to them, no, this is not what you are seeing. We're not doing this, and I'm not signing off on a student to be put into special ed.
But we have a lot of our parents signing off. Isn't that
yes,
right?
they do. And the thing is, what is so sad about this, they wait until the child gets into the 12th, 11th, and 12th grade. They get an IEP, meaning that is an attendance certificate. It's not a certificate that you had did all of the qualifications to be a graduate. So they'll let them play football, basketball, whatever, because this is what they think, and the parents will fight because they don't understand. If a child does not graduate with a diploma, what are their options?
Yeah, and see, we have to understand too is that what is the percentage, and this police and teachers, of people that are not familiar with our neighborhood coming into our neighborhood, giving us 100% effort to help our children. Victor, come in, Victor.
Well, I'm a big proponent in regards to mental health. Okay. And one of my biggest things is NYPD should never be first responders. Okay, they should always play a background in regards to what the community needs. Okay, they should be the background to it. Okay, we need their support, of course, but necessarily they should be in the back, and the community should be in the forefront. Okay, when it comes to our communities, because many of those individuals that actually are police officers, they do come from many of our communities. Okay, and then transition out into these urban neighborhoods out Long Island and stuff like that. So when they return back, okay, their mindset is trained in an entirely different approach. Okay, so NYPD is one of my biggest let me say opponents. I'm radically against them. I was just downtown 120 Skimmerhorn in regards to the young lady that was pregnant and went into labor in the courtroom. Okay, and the treatment of how they treated her in the court in regards to her being shackled while she's having the baby. Okay, that's a genetic code that's being sent to that child before he's even born. Okay, so these things are the things that we have to worry about when it comes to our community. Okay, genetically, genocide, all these things are all part of a factor that this system really designed to turn around and target our communities. Okay, so I am currently working on changing many of the patrol guide language. Okay, in terms of people experiencing emotional crisis. Okay, and people who actually are being incarcerated as a result of this targeting of our communities. So I am pushing for a changing of the patrol guide, because that patrol guide is a lead in regards to our community.
Okay, Tariq, come in, Tariq.
So speaking as somebody who had an IEP, right? I would say this: I wasn't in special ed; I was in general class. But when you have an IEP, you're given two options. You could take a Regents diploma or equivalent type of diploma. Yes. And that's just an option. You know, for some parents, they'll probably put their kids in there for behavioral things, but sometimes it's needed because the kid needs more time with their tests. It doesn't mean that they're special or anything else, but it gives the kid a fair chance because sometimes they got time limits on tests. So, you know, I do agree with you. The kid doesn't have any choice in that manner. It is a parent thing. But at the same sense, I can't complain about it, because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be able to graduate with a regular Regents diploma because I had that time. So, you know, it works to his benefits based on those kids' special needs. Now, on top of when it comes to stop and frisk, you know, I do agree with you to a certain extent, because at the same sense, now it has gotten to the point that because we don't have control over it, they feel like they have to control us. And that's the thing that's going on in our community right now, a lack of accountability among ourselves. We must hold the people that we're putting into office accountable, the people that we're backing, because at the same sense, they stay in office a lot longer than any president. And sometimes they even outweigh those who are working those jobs. When we talk about NYPD, understand this. A lot of politicians will come in our face and talk that talk, but they don't never put a law or a bill in place to enforce mental health training, to enforce our communities to come together and these TA boards to come together and say, listen, let's put away these guns. Half of the time when these parents are losing their babies and kids are dying, they don't show up until it makes major news. until now it's a good for a photo op.
Yeah,
So we got to hold them accountable, but we also got to say, listen, it's our job now.
It's
It's
our
no
job.
longer everybody
It's our
else.
job.
I just want to piggyback on that, because what he said is really important. When you hold your politicians accountable, understand they have the ability to write laws that change the top-down governance. If they're just showing up for a photo op, they're fake, and you got to call them out on that. Because I work with legislators for the last 12 years, and they do a lot of this and say, oh, we can't do this. Like, well, why aren't you being more creative with your pen? Why aren't you being more creative to solve problems?
Mr. Peace, can I say something? We don't see some of them until it's time for re-election. Then they come out, they give us the popcorn and the Kool-Aid, and they want our votes. And then once they get in office, we go back to them, and they're like, well, who are you?
Well, and that's why I say we got to stop voting. Like they feel like they're guaranteed to get us because we're Democrat, right?
Dr.
They're not even trying.
Dr. Pryor, we gave you a whole lot of stuff mixed up. Come in, Dr. Pryor.
To do a part 2 and a part 3, right? Because we're really doing ourselves an injustice, because we're really just scratching the surface here. There's so much more to be seen. But what we need to know, first of all, you're absolutely right. We allow these elected officials to come into our sanctuaries when it's election time and kiss babies and take photo ops and then walk away, and then we don't see them no more until the next election round comes. We need to put that to a stop. That needs to not be continued. Secondly, we need to be more civically engaged. There's nothing that bothers me more than to go to a community board meeting and we're not there, to go to a school board meeting and we're not there, to go to a block association meeting and we're not there. We have a lot of complaints and we have a lot of things that we want to say, but we don't say them in the right venues. So we have to get much more civically engaged, much more civically involved. And I'll tell you this, there is a community, for those who are familiar with Brooklyn, the borough of Brooklyn. If you want to know how a community has community control like we can have it, go down Eastern Parkway. Start with somewhere down by the museum and work your way all the way down past Ralph. And let me tell you what you're going to see. You're going to see police cars. You're going to see ambulances. You're going to see all kinds of public resources being targeted at a community who has demanded that those resources be brought to bear in their community. And I was told by a rabbi myself that even if a police officer had a warrant on somebody in their community, they cannot come in and arrest that person. They have to notify the liaison first. The liaison will take the information down, then they will get back to the police officer, and then they will arrange when that person will come down to the precinct with their attorney to address whatever it is that they want, whether it's a warrant or a complaint. Why can't we do that? Why don't we have that kind of control? I'm going to tell you why. Because we're not civically engaged. The reason why they pay so much attention to that community is because everybody in that community votes. If they have 100,000 people registered to vote, you know how many people vote? 100,000. Every single person votes. So why would you think that an elected officials would pay attention to the community who does not vote over the one who does? That's just one thing. We're not even going to talk about the economics, because a Hasidic baker would never buy dough from anyone other than a Hasidic person that sells dough. And that's just the bottom line. And they're unapologetic about it. They don't make no excuses, and they don't give no explanation about why it is that they keep their dollar rotating in their community and it never leaves their community. But when it comes to us, we all of a sudden now have to start practicing principles of democracy. We have to take care of everybody else before we take care of our own needs. And that needs to come to a stop. I'm just giving it to you straight up. I've been in this game 30 years, and I'm getting sick and tired of the same old mess going on and on. It's time for us to get real with each other.
It's time for us to get real. And guess what, Dr. Pryor? It's time for real people to come to the table. See, if you've got to bring the people from the urban, which you do, but it's urban people in communities living next door to each other need to come to the table. Now I want to just change. I want to go with stop and frisk. I want everyone to be, Dr. Pryor, what do you think about stop and frisk? Because I got to get this out.
Well, let me tell you, first of all, you know, when you have officers who come work in the community and they already have preconceived notions, they already got biases, they already got stereotypes, then the only thing you can expect is that they're going to do what they've been doing. When they see 3 young black males standing on the corner, I don't care what time of day or night it is, having a conversation, they feel that that gives them the right to stop and frisk. Why? They have not done anything unlawful. There's nothing illegal about standing on the corner. There's nothing illegal about standing on the corner with a hoodie on. There's nothing illegal about you being there at 3 o'clock in the morning. If you have not done anything unlawful, the police officer has no right under the law to stop you, question you, or frisk you. But it happens. But if you go to other communities where there are 3 white males standing on the corner with hoodies on, the only thing they say, oh, those gentlemen, they must be, this person, they must have just got off work, whatever, because they already come with a preconceived notion. Mm-hmm. So we have to change the perception that they have of our people. So there's a lot of work. Like I said, this is multifaceted. There's a difference between reasonable suspicion and probable cause. Why I noticed, because I'm a graduate of the New York Police. I'm the only formerly incarcerated person in the history of New York State to have graduated from the New York Police Academy. There's no one before me and no one after me. And of course,
tell us the difference. Tell us the difference.
The difference is that because I have criminal convictions, it was not supposed to be possible. I was an experiment. William Bratton, who was the commissioner at that time, got into a back and forth with me at Harriet Tubman School in Harlem. And this back and forth led him to inviting me to come to the academy. Of course, I told him I didn't have the time. They said we can make special accommodations. Lo and behold, I went through it like a hot knife through butter because I have a doctorate degree in criminal justice. So there's nothing that they can teach in the academy that I probably didn't write myself. But that being the case, I went through it, and as a result, they asked me, well, now that you've gone through it, can you give us, your analysis on what your experience combined with your academic degree, combined with the fact you've been through the system, can you give us a unique perspective? And that unique perspective is the People's Police Academy. That's the reason why we create these venues and these platforms to bring people into a space that otherwise would never occupy the same room. I got so-called gang leaders. I don't refer to them as gang leaders. I refer to them as street organization leaders. These street organization leaders in the same room with chiefs of police. I got the unwed pregnant teenager in the same room with the deacon of the church. I have the long-term resident in the same room with the local bodega owner. Why? Because they got different views of each other, and I want them to come into a space where they can begin to solve problems. So this is an outcome-driven, solution-oriented, problem-solving environment that we create. And you don't come to the room just so that you can gripe. You don't come there just so you can complain. You come there because you feel that you have a solution that you think can resolve a problem that's really causing the community a lot of angst. That's why we do this People's Police Academy work. I never thought I'd be doing it. I'm the last person that I thought would have been doing this work. But guess what? Somebody's got to do it. Because guess what? The police are not going away. And as long as they're going to be in our community, we should have community control. We should manage their footprint. Everything.
Now that brings Dr. Pryor. Let me just come in. So tell us, what is community policing? What is when I speak about community policing, and you're the expert, do the community actually go in and meet the new recruits so they can get an idea of who we are in our communities? What is community policing?
Absolutely. Not only do they do that, but before a precinct commander can be put in position, there's supposed to be a community committee that sits down, interviews these candidates, and make the selection of who the actual precinct commander is going to be. Because how officers behave and how they act in a precinct is determined by the attitude and the strategy and the methodology of the precinct commander. So that's where it starts. Community policing means that the community has a direct say-so. The community policing means that we are heavily involved in the precinct council meetings. That means that we are interacting with local law enforcement. That means we know every officer in our community. There was a time when you would know the police officer. We knew every beat walker. They knew your name. They knew who the good kids were. They knew who the bad ones were. But when something happened, they weren't quick to arrest you. They would bring you to your parent. They would bring you, to your pastor. They had all kinds of other strategies that they used other than arresting you and putting you through the system. So we want to resort back to those things that we know work. And community policing is one such way to do that. And there's nothing that gets me more excited than for me to be able to transform a police officer, particularly a police officer of color, to let them understand that if we don't get this world to change the way they see me,
Wait, hold it,
that
Dr.
you are
Pryor.
susceptible to
Dr.
the same
Pryor,
reaction.
I got to come in, Dr. Pryor. Did you just say a police of color?
I mean, black police officers, Latino police officers, Asian
Wait a minute,
police
no. You said that you have to help transform police of color.
You better believe it. Let me tell you something. The culture of policing is so toxic and so powerful. It doesn't make a difference who goes in. When they come out, they're not the same person. I'm telling you, I went through the
Blue
police
wall of
academy.
silence.
Exactly. There's that blue wall of silence that they drill in you from day one of the academy until you graduate. Let them know no matter what happens, you do not share any information about your peers. I don't care what the situation is. And it's the same as the no snitching rule in our community. It has the same consequence. And so these are the things that we talk about in the People's Police Academy when I create these situations. When I do the next one, I'm going to send out an invitation to you, Elder M, and I want you to share that with anyone who would be interested. I think that you will find these encounters to be very, very dynamic.
Now, I got to jump in again. This is kind of disheartening to me, because it would appear to me that if a police of color approached our young people, that they would be more sympathetic and try to understand.
Expected. It's expected.
It's
Yes,
expected,
but it's not the reality.
That's not the reality.
Fact, I'm gonna tell you something, and this is going. Let me tell you something. I would prefer to get stopped by two white officers than to get stopped by a white one and a black one. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because when the white officer and the black officer stop me, the black officer is going to dog me out, because he feels he has to prove to his white peer that he's not giving me any special treatment, that he's not, allowing me to get away with something. So he's going to go out of his way. He's going to go over and beyond in order to show, to prove, to demonstrate, you know what I'm saying, that I'm down with the blue. All I see is the blue. And this is something I've seen with my own eyes and experienced personally. I've experienced this. So when I get stopped and I look in that rearview mirror, if I see a black officer and a white one, I know I'm in trouble. That black one's going to dog me out.
Now, Dr. Pryor, let me come in again, and then I want the panel to come in. You are rewriting some of the manuals at the police department,
absolutely,
in hopes that you can explain to them or train to them the different languages that our young people use, and how we use our hands, and how it's not always in a defensive manner.
Right.
It's just the way sometimes we talk. Could you just tell us a little bit about that?
Well, what we're doing is, first of all, they have to be culturally competent. There are a large number of officers who don't live in our community, right? They come from the outer boroughs, Westchester County, Suffolk County, Nassau County. So they have a different culture, right? A different set of norms, right? Different behaviors, right? And when they come in and they begin to interact with black youth, they think that the behaviors that are natural to us are behaviors that are warning signs for them. And they use that to try to legitimize the over-policing that takes place in our community, because they don't have an understanding of who we are as a people. Some of them have never interacted with a black person, Some of them have never had any experience. They don't see things through the lens that we see it through. They don't understand that when it's hot in the summertime, that we come out and we hang out in front of the building. It has nothing to do with crime. It has nothing to do with violence. This is just who we are as a people. And if you go down into any of the communities, go down into East Harlem, right, into the barrios, right, go down into Harlem on 125th Street, and on a hot summer night, we outside. That's just what we do. We're very creative people. We're a musical people. We're very interactive people, And so what we're doing poses no threat to public safety, but their view of what we're doing says that we pose a threat, and that's the reason why they interact with us the way they do. Our training exposes that. And there are a lot of times when they have to come to grips with the fact that, well, you know what, I think you might have a point there. We've had many officers, white officers, Asian officers, actually tell us right there in the room of folks, you know what, I think you might be right. I never thought about it that way. I didn't understand what it was that I was doing, but now that you clarified it, I think you might have a point. I've had these admissions, these confessions happen right in the space of 100 people in the room.
I see we're going to have a part 2 of this, but we want everybody to write their one question down that they would like to ask Dr. Pryor right now, but we need a part 2. But Dr. Pryor, I want to say this before anything else. There are good polices and bad polices, and
Yes,
I want to make that statement out there so everyone knows that we're not trying to bash polices. We've just had bad experiences in our neighborhoods with some of them that are not so good and don't understand our culture. I'm going to ask Tyreek. Tyreek, what's your question you'd like to ask Dr. Pryor?
Let me ask you a question. What can we do better as a community to even support them and have them to even support us in a whole different way?
I think that I would like folks to show up at the next precinct council meeting wherever you live, and I think that you should ask questions like, "What's the name of the precinct commander? Who is the XO there? What kind of programs do you guys provide to the community? What kind of services can we expect from you?" I would ask a question like, when you see me on the street and I see you on the street, what should I expect from you and what should you expect from me? Ask them some real hard questions and see what it is that they have to say. I would be really curious to hear what the responses were. You probably get a variety of different responses because, believe it or not, and this I'm sure this is hard pressed, there are actually a lot of police officers on the force who ain't out to get you. They don't get up in the morning and say, "I'm here to get you." But I remember my grandmother, when I used to go down south in the summertime and pick apples, she used to always say, "Boy, don't you put no rotten apple inside that barrel." You know why? Because if you got a barrel full of fresh apples and you throw one rotten apple in there, that rot spreads to all the apples. So we know, just like in the community, we got Barkim and them on the police force, they got them too. They have some rotten apples that they have to get off there. Otherwise, it poisons the entire force and it gives them a bad name. But I'm going to be honest with you, and I never thought I'd hear myself live to see the day to hear me say these words. I know for a fact that every officer does not get up every morning to say, "I want to go out and kill a black man. I want to go out." It's just not true. It's just not true. But
Okay,
there are
bring Victor in. Victor, come in with your question for Dr. Pryor. 1 minute.
Well, first of all, Dr. Pryor, me and you have met before many, many years ago. Okay.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, I know you. I know you very well. Okay.
Okay.
I met you through, Glenn Martin.
Yes, I do.
Okay, he's my mentor and a good friend of mine. Honestly, since Elder M mentioned, okay, you're working on changing the patrol guide, and to be honest, I'm working on the same thing, and I would love to actually join with you in terms of looking over this patrol guide, because I have the whole patrol guide in my computer. I've been doing a lot of work on it.
Oh, I do as well. Good. Yes.
And I honestly, a lot of the things that you've said, okay, is basically in line with everything that I do. Okay, that's my sister Peggy. Okay, Herrera. Okay, my nephew was brutally murdered, and yes, I am about accountability. Jonathan Darch of Civilian Complaint Review Board is a good friend of mine. Okay. Executive director, and I know him for 30 years. Okay, and I do a lot of work with them in terms of how we can hold law enforcement in terms of not accountability solely, but how we can interact with them in a sense where our youth and our young are not targeted, where incarceration is always primary for them, or arrest. Okay, and that's basically my one question. How can we best approach this whole situation about having these officers look at our community in a sense where they can help rather than target?
Well, it's interesting you said that. There's a formula that we use at the People's Police Academy. We spend 3 days. It's a 3-day intensive training. They have to commit to 3 days, 3 consecutive days. And in those 3 days, let me tell you something. The first day we start off by let's get to know each other. We play a lot of team building exercises. We do a lot of small group, role plays. We share a lot of information. We look at videos. We do comments. We have some games that we play because it's really we got to get to know each other first before we can jump right into the serious stuff. But on day 2, we get right into it. We get into this whole issue around over policing. We get into de-escalation. We get into conflict resolution. We get into mediation. We get into crowd control. We deal with implicit bias. We deal with institutionalized racism. All of that we deal with, so that for the third day, we try to begin to start talking about what is it in our community that all of us agree needs to be changed, that we can work on together. And we spend that day working on some kind of public safety project that everyone can work on together. And it's through those projects that people get to see police in a different way, and police get to see people in a different way. And Elder M, you can tell them about our work, the projects that we do. They make a major impact. We have situations now in Bedford-Stuyvesant where police have already agreed there were about 10 things now they're no longer going to arrest youth for. So they're not arresting them no longer for stealing bikes, turnstiles, stealing something out the store. None of those offenses that they would handcuff them and take away, they're not arresting them anymore. Instead,
we're going to have to have a part two. We got to have a part two, because I want to get everybody on. Dr. Gorday, you got a minute to ask your question, followed by Peggy. Minister Patton, 1 minute. Let's go.
Okay. Let me get my listen. All right. I have so many questions, but I'm just going to ask this first one. What is the structure of your program so I can fit in, or where I can fit in? But I want to know, how does it work out? Or do you have community leaders in each borough? Do you have one across the country? Talk to me.
Well, it's interesting you said that. We're now in the City University of New York. We're at the historic Medgar Evers College. We are both an academic center and an activist organization. We work a lot with students on campus, not only just Medgar, but in many of the CUNY campuses, John Jay, Hunter College, a variety of colleges throughout the city, who are interested in careers in public safety. And we give them internships. We arrange for them to have internships in the courts, in the chambers of the judges, in Department of Probation if they're interested, or NYPD, or any of the other law enforcement agencies. We have a public safety council that meets 4 times a year, comprised of FBI, comprised of DOJ, the U.S. Attorney's Office, the Department of Probation, NYPD, of course. We have DOE on there, NYCHA, and when we meet, we have very, very, very serious discussions about how we can make our community safer. And then we also have data that we collect, and we have a lot of data, and we're trying to figure out now what we do with it. I know that you'd be interested in that.
Yes.
The NYPD is not very generous when it comes to giving up data. We have to get from them what we can get while we have them in our quote unquote custody over those 3 days. Anything after that is very hard to get. So we're trying to create an instrument that allows us to get as much information as we can from them over the 3 days that we have them with us, so that we can probably use that data later on. We might have to extrapolate that data into situations that are not technically real, because they won't allow us to do the kind of follow-up we need to do. You and I should have a conversation.
And that will make sure that you guys have a conversation. Peggy,
I put my email and my phone number in the chat, so it's in there right now. My number right to my office, and my email's right there.
Peggy, your question.
Yes, quickly, I want to say, Dr. Pryor, I was arrested when I called for help when my son was in a crisis. I lost my husband to cancer, my dad to COVID, and my child to gun violence.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm at a place in my life where I've rallied, I've spoken. Now it's about changing policies and putting bills in place. I'm on so many fights. My question to you today is, you kind of answered it a little bit. How do we change their perspective? And how do I get involved in that? Do you have a certificate program for me, for us here, that we can join? As I know you say you have for the youth and all of that, but I like to do certificate programs. I like to learn. I want to understand all of that, how I put a policy in place, how I make change, how I make a difference. Because right now, when I look at my hands, yes, I have one daughter, I have some grandchildren. My hands are empty right now, but God gave me purpose, and I want to take and use that to go out and make a difference. So where do I start, and when is your next meeting?
You start with, you send me an email, and you and I'll set something. We'll have a conversation, maybe a Zoom, maybe in person. We'll figure it out. And we are working on a 12-week certificate program for community violence interrupters. And we had a pilot that we just ran. The pilot went very well. We're tweaking it now, trying to figure out how to modify it, adjust it, add more, take away. We're maybe going to run the next certificate program on community violence prevention in the fall. So that gives us some time for us to communicate with each other. And I would love to have a conversation with you. I like your energy, Peggy. I'm feeling your energy.
Okay.
You know?
Minister Peace, come in, Minister Peace. Bring some of that energy.
All right, I'll be real quick with it. Again, thank you for your time. I'm working on ATI and ATD legislation right now, and I'm just curious if you'd be interested in helping work with me, because the more coalitions I build, the more that the legislators take it seriously. Again, I want to expand those who are eligible for alternatives to incarceration, as well as expand what crimes are eligible for. Right now, we only funnel people towards mental health and substance abuse clinics, and that's not always best for people in our community. That doesn't yield the right results for all people. But there are a lot of community-based organizations, a lot of peer-to-peer support, parent-to-peer support, mentorship programs across evidence-based platforms that can actually produce a lot of results and that have years of results. And so I want to make sure that legislators put that into they draft it, they pass it, so we give our kids more opportunities and just be funneled through that pipeline over and over and over again. So if you be down, let me know.
The answer is yes. Anything I can do to contribute and support, I will. Is there any particular legislator you're working with now on that piece of legislation?
I'm talking to Senate Member Chantel Jackson. She's the chair of the Black Legislative Task Force. There's others who I work with as well, but she's my primary point.
Let's communicate. That's my email.
I already did. Sounds good.
Okay, Minister Patton, 1 minute, Minister Patton, and then Tyreek, and then we're going to give it to Dr. Pryor to make the last remarks.
Oh, first of all, I would like to be put on your list for when you have your next program, the 12-week certificate. And the reason why I'm interested in that is because we have too many of our children going from the school to the prison pipeline. So maybe that can give me some kind of insight of what that I can do. And yes, our children do have a 501c when they can have a Regents, and some of our children take advantage of it, but many of our children don't. But so I want to see if this thing can help me as far as an administrator, how I can touch the lives of our children, because too many of our children in our community is going from the school to the prison pipeline. And it's very disturbing for our babies.
Send me an email and tell me that I'm interested in the 12-week certificate program, and I'll put you on the list. Make sure you send me all your info, and when we get ready to start promoting the next cohort, I will make sure that you get a notification, and I will look to see you in the classroom. We have a list right now. We have enough names on the list now to run 2 or 3 cohorts, right? But you just send me an email and you remind me that we met here on WarCry, and that will have a special meaning.
Thank you.
That'll have a special meaning to me, okay?
Yes, WarCry. Okay, Tyreek, come in with your question to Dr. Pryor.
I love what you're doing. I wanted to know what areas in the South Bronx or in the Bronx where you're going to be at, because we work close with the teens, and there's a lot of things that's going on, and this is ground zero where all the killings is happening and things like that.
100%.
Just let me know, what's going on, because even today we was outside rallying for gun violence. I just had a protest, and we have a clear plan on how to bring communities together. So, I'm young, I'm like in my 30s. So at the end of the day, I feel like even when it comes to any of y'all, reach out to me. I'm here to work with any one of y'all. Y'all all dope in y'all own way. But you, sir, you also got things going. So just let me know where y'all gonna be at, safely in the South Bronx, so we can move in accordance with how the way you're moving.
Good. I'm working with a group, RTG, out there. They're on 149th and 3rd. Yeah. David Carver is my people. You know, me and David go back a long, long way. I'm plugged into most of the crisis management system sites, the cure violence sites around New York. And then over and beyond those sites, there are other credible messenger programs that are not part of the New York City crisis management system, but they're doing the same work. I'm plugged into them as well as the state programs under the SNUG money. And that's a different route of money, still doing the same work. It's just different funding streams. But I will share any information that I have with you. Anything that I have is yours. You know, I exist to try to be a support system for anybody who's serious about this work. So don't hesitate to hit me on the email and make a request. And if I can't do it, I probably know somebody who can, and I'll do everything I can.
Dr. Pryor, you know, we thank you so much. But before I even turn it over, I want to say a couple things. First of all, Dr. Pryor is extending People's Police Academy to Mississippi and other places.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Wow, yes, this is great.
Yeah, I'll be in Jackson, Mississippi in 2 weeks. I just got back from Birmingham, Alabama, and the first week of July, I'll be in Columbus, Ohio. So we're making our moves, and this is by request. People are calling me. I'm not calling them. They're saying, listen, what is this that you're doing there, creating these platforms, these forums for people to engage in these series? You got to be a very seasoned facilitator to do the kind of work that I do. I've seen regular trainers who thought, oh, I could do that, and I've seen them crumble. Because you get in a room with about 20, 25 police officers, they're going to say some things that's going to cause a visceral response. Some things that's going to happen in that space that ain't going to feel good. Ain't going to taste good.
The next thing I want to say, Dr. Pryor, I don't want to cut you off, but we going short for time, is that Dr. Pryor is working on reparations. He's always in Albany working on reparations. Give me 2 seconds on that, Dr. Pryor.
Yes, well, let me tell you something. Reparations is actually going to happen. The biggest thing they're trying to figure out right now is how comprehensive it's going to be. It's much more than the money. See, people think reparations is about money. Yeah, it's going to be about money. It's going to be trillions of dollars in money, but it's going to be about changing the education system. It's going to be about the criminal justice system. It's about repair. It's about mental health. It's about substance abuse. It's about righting wrongs. It's about rebuilding families. There's so many different levels that have to be dealt with. People just think, oh, they're just going to write a check and that's going to be reparations. Absolutely not. The money is just going to be the cherry on the cake. They got to repair all those centuries of damage. You know, all the people who had to succumb to systems of oppression, who have been overdiagnosed, not diagnosed, misdiagnosed, who've been sent to prison, who've been sent through the juvenile justice center, through the foster care system, the loss of mothers and fathers, the separation of families. All of those things have to be dealt with. The psychological damage, the emotional damage that we have to overcome. And the fact that we still have people that now whose genetics have been damaged because they're carrying the pain from their ancestors that still screams out in their bloodstream. All of that has to be addressed. This is far more than money.
Okay,
I've been doing this
let me come in again.
I love it.
Give my hand clap.
I love that.
Now, the other thing, this is the big surprise that I've been waiting to say about Dr. Pryor. He is a pastor.
Yes, I am.
I knew that. I can hear that.
You can hear that, huh? Okay.
He is a pastor. So we have someone on the front line fighting for us and representing us in a way that we know we're going to get the victory. So with all that said, I would like Dr. Pryor to close us out in a prayer. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Let's please bow our heads. Heavenly Father, God, we thank you for this opportunity to be in your presence once again, oh God. God, we know that you sit high, but we know you also look low, oh God. God, so we thank you for every blessing you bestowed upon us, oh Lord. And God, before we ask you for anything, we'd like to first thank you for everything, oh God. We thank you for being God all by yourself, oh God. We thank you for being a way maker, oh God. We thank you for being a deliverer, oh God. We thank you, oh God, because we know, oh God, that the only thing you cannot do is fail, oh God. So we claim victory in advance, oh God. God, we thank you for everyone in earshot, everyone who participated in tonight's program, God. Continue to guide us and direct us, oh God. We ask these things in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Let the people of God say amen.
Amen. This is WarCry. We had a great time. We're looking for
Yes,
more
yes.
I
Wonderful
love you,
time.
Dr. Pryor.
Elder
I
M,
love you, Dr.
Elder M,
Pryor.
before you
Make
close
a
out,
heart. Make a heart, Peggy. Make a
Praise the
heart.
Lord. Praise the
Elder
I
Lord.
M,
love you,
Elder
Dr.
M, before you
Pryor.
close out,
Yes,
before you
Hey.
close out,
Yeah, we love you.
yes, we
Elder
love
M,
you.
before you close out, I want
Yes.
to just say that me and my sister, okay, right now going through something because my brother's missing. Okay, he's been missing for a week. Okay, and I just wanted to share that with all of y'all because he's a challenged individual at age 59 years old. I just turned 60 last week, so it's basically a big thing that's weighing heavily on us because it's a challenge that we experience in this community. And he just disappeared on us last week.
And let me tell you something, Dr. Pryor, the police don't spend enough time looking for our children and our
Well,
lost
we're
loved
working
ones.
on that. Victor, you and I will be in touch. I got your number. I'll call you.
All right, thanks, Dr.
This
Okay.
is WarCry. We'll see you again in 2 weeks. We're going to plan another show, but thank you guys.
Thank
Keep
you.
praying. Let's pray. Let's pray for Victor and Peggy's sister and brother.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll
See you
collect
later.
everybody.
WarCry, love you. Remember
you.
the fight
God
for our
bless
children. Remember
All
the
right.
fight is on. But guess
Yes,
what?
it's
It's
on.
fixed and we win. We win. Come on, everybody say we
Victory
win.
is ours.
We win.
We win.
Victory is ours.
All right. See you in 2 weeks. I love all
Take
you
care,
guys.
guys.
Thank you so
Love
much.
you too. Bye-bye.
Amen. This is WarCry. WarCry for our children. Where the street meets the sanctuary and purpose meets power. Join me, Elder M, intercessor, street evangelist, prayer warrior, advocator for justice. We stand in the gap in the streets, in the courtyards, in the schoolyards, in the church and on the block. This ain't just prayer. It's intercession. It's advocacy. We deal with real problems. Criminal justice, social justice, gun violence, social media, catfishing, human trafficking, mental illness, education disparities. We deal with it all here on WarCry. Our community has a voice. It's called WarCry. Each week, we link arms with community leaders, educators, pastors, parents calling out injustice. This is WarCry. This is not just a podcast. It's more than a moment. This is a movement. Join us. Let's give a voice to the problem and be the solution.
Trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep them going.
WarCry. We're going to speak out for our children. Let freedom ring? No, there cannot be freedom until there's justice. WarCry, join us Mondays, 11 a.m. I'm just about to lose my mind. This is WarCry. They're trying to turn time back. But let us get out and give a voice to the problem. This is WarCry. Join us, be with us, or be gone. Don't push us. This is WarCry.
Trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
We're not going under. This is WarCry.